on internet safety and cloud computing. My name is Diane Alfonso, owner and CEO of Alfonso Enterprises. From time to time I conduct seminars and trainings and different things, focusing on internet and technology, and to just bring people up to date on what's the current, latest, and greatest things that's out there in the world of technology. Today we'll be focusing on cloud computing and internet safety, basically how to protect your castle at all times, because there's so many things that's out there that potentially can cause you harm, and then some of it is definitely good for you as well. So today we want to focus on that and bring that into perspective so we can reach everyone and kind of let them know what's going on out there in the world. I've been in the technology industry now for 15 years. I'm a software consultant, and I also test software. And I just want to give back to the community, so to speak, to inform people on things that's happening in our world, and all the knowledge that I have, I'd like to transfer it to other people so they can be aware. Amen? All right, so as we start off this afternoon here, after this class, you should be able to, one, define cloud computing, identify key players in cloud computing, know how to utilize cloud computing, safely use cloud computing for your benefits, identify the pros and cons of cloud computing, identify the pros and cons of the internet, identify ways to keep your information safe, know how to protect your system, and know how to protect your family. A whole new world. This statement was made by our former President Bill Clinton. We're into a whole new world with the internet, and whenever we sort of cross another plateau in our development, there are those who seek to take advantage of it. So this is a replay of things that has happened throughout our history. And this statement right here that former President Bill Clinton made is so prevalent now, because new things and new technology is being developed daily. And as we start getting into this whole new world of what we think is the internet of this little small box is so much more bigger. And as we start going into those things, there's so many people who want to harm us and injure us and things like that. So as we go forth, we're going to learn about those things. Cloud computing, the good, the bad, and you better not dare. What is cloud computing? Cloud computing is defined as the practice of a network of remote servers hosted on the internet to store, manage, and process data, rather than a local server or a personal computer. So think of cloud computing as you're sitting in a room, and behind this room or behind this wall, there's another room, and there's just thousands and thousands of other computers. So everything you're doing on your computer sitting in this room is being stored on those thousands and thousands of computers, or servers, what are known as servers. And in reality, a lot of people use cloud computing on a daily basis, and they don't even realize that they're using it. Every time you open your email, every time you open Facebook, Instagram, Yahoo, Amazon, all those things, those are basically cloud computers. Because every time you do something on Gmail, as soon as you type an email, and Gmail, sometimes you'll type an email and you might leave and come back and it'll say, I've saved this as a draft, do you want to keep it? Well, when they're saving that as a draft, they have to store that somewhere. So that storage is what's called the cloud. They're storing it on the cloud and on those servers. So that's why every time you open those things, Facebook is a big, massive cloud computer. All the pictures that you post, Instagram, all the pictures, everything that you post out there, it's a big, massive cloud computer, because they have thousands and thousands of servers that these things are being stored on and set upon. So that's why you hear a lot of people say, once you put it out there, it's out there. There's no, oh my God, I deleted it. You deleted it, but it's not deleted off that server. So that's where cloud computing comes in. And it's become more prevalent now because there's so many things that goes on with cloud computing. There's some key players of cloud computing today. The top 5 right now is Google, of course, because Google has email. They have Google Share Drive and Google+. Google+ is basically Google's version of Facebook. All right, and then there's Microsoft. Microsoft have their email system, and then they also have their SkyDrive. They changed it recently to call SkyDrive, but when they first came out with it, it was known as the cloud. Amazon has Amazon S3 storage, and they're becoming more popular because lots and lots of developers and programmers now are using Amazon S3. Yahoo they're a key player, but they got like this much of the market right now. Not too many people are using Yahoo because they've got so many issues going on. So they're trying to get back into the game. And then most recently, one that's popped up and it's been around for a while, but it's becoming more popular now, is Dropbox. And Dropbox is basically an online storage, and the benefits of Dropbox is not just online storage, but they give you like your own personal folder where it's kind of a little bit more condensed, and it's not just in the world of this big, massive cloud. So those are the top 5 key players you definitely want to know about, and we'll talk about them more in detail as we go along. So who uses cloud computing and how do we use it? Anyone can use it. Most of cloud computing, most companies give you a starter account, and most of those starter accounts are free. You can use it to store pictures, you can use it to store music files, you can store any kinds of files that you pretty much want, and much more than that. And once you use all the free space, then you have to basically buy more. And then as you go along, that's basically how they make their money, because now you're wondering, okay, this can't be all free. They got to make money somehow. Well, that's how they get you. Once you're done using your free storage, then they say, hey, you can upgrade for $10 a month, and we can give you even more storage, even on an iPad. This iPad, Apple has their storage basically, once my iPad is full, they said, hey, you can get more, you know, you can, in order to back up your iPad, I can give you more if you purchase more backup storage facility. And that's how Apple definitely makes their money, because Apple knows, I'm only going to give you 16 gigs. You got one or two ways out of this. Either you delete, or you come and get more. So that's how the Apple and all the rest of these big time players definitely make their money. I think I skipped one. All right, how to safely use cloud computing. Only store pictures that you don't mind others seeing. I tell people every day, use the grandma rule. If you don't want grandma to see it, then don't post it, right? So grandma's gonna say, well, baby, well, what is that? Okay, or 10 years later, you don't want your kids and your grandkids and great-grands and all these people coming around and like, what was mama doing twerking on Facebook? Don't post it. Be careful of what you post on there. When taking your pictures on phones and PDAs and iPads and tablets and things like that, your phone has what's called a GPS setting. Turn that GPS setting off. And we're going to go through an exercise where I can show you guys how to do that in your phone, because believe it or not, your GPS settings, every time you take a picture, if your GPS setting is turned on, and you might have had it on just because, okay, thank you, buddy. Can you sit down now? Thank you. You might have turned on your GPS setting because you're trying to get to a location and you forgot and you didn't forgot to turn it off. So you've gotten to your spot, you've turned off your navigation, you're now at your destination, you're like, oh, that's a nice picture, click. You've taken your picture, and your picture now has your exact location where you were when you took that picture. You now posted it in Dropbox or Facebook or Instagram, and Instagram now uploads that picture, or Facebook uploads that picture, and now they've got your exact location. Somebody goes out there to Google and say, hey, let me Google Caleb Dees. And boom, here's your picture, pops up. It tells you, Caleb took this picture at Georgia State. He was sitting in his dorm room. Here's the exact location. Boom. I've now got access to where Caleb is and all the different spots that Caleb travels. This is especially important for parents with kids. I do it all the time when I'm taking a picture of my child. Turn it off. Because people can pinpoint exactly where you are, from your child's school to your child's church to your child's location. I mean, all the way down to their bedroom. So I tell parents all the time, check your kid's phone, turn that thing off. Take it off. Always uncheck it. Make sure it's off, because it's very, very, very important. Do not put anything personal in cloud computing. any files that you have with your name, address, phone numbers. And we tell people all the time, but you'd be surprised how many people still do this. Because, excuse me, remember, this is cloud computing. It's out there, okay? Any company is not so perfect they cannot be hacked, okay? They can get hacked at any time. So as much as they say, oh, we're very secure, we make sure we protect, trust me, ChoicePoint was secure. And we got hacked, right? And that's all we do is collect data. And once we collect data and you get hacked, your data is now out there. So anything personal, do not put it out there. I don't care if you've encrypted that file with a password. Trust me, there are people, their whole lives is built on, I'm going to figure out a way to get into this. That's all they do. They sit in the basement and they type in passwords all day long. All right? Make sure you have a secure password for your storage. Even if you go out here and you create one of these on cloud computing, go out there and make sure you secure your password. Do use a password that is very secure. On our last class we talked about password safety and security. Passwords, you want to make sure that they're long enough, at least 8 to 10 characters long. Make sure you have an uppercase and lowercase in there. Make sure you have a special character like an @ symbol or exclamation point, something to that fact. Make sure it's not something that's easily readable. I mean, you don't want your password to be password. You don't know how many times I've tell people that, and then they go in and they go password. You don't want your password. Most of the times I set up people and I set up their password and I said, hey, I've put your password as change me. I do that on purpose. And yet and still, when I go back and say, okay, I need your computer to access your system, what's your password? Oh, it's change me. This is why I told you to change me. But, I mean, don't use anything personal. Don't use your child's name. Don't use your child's date of birth. Don't use mama's name, date of birth. Because those are the first things that people automatically go to. They say, okay, who are you? Oh, it's Marion Dees. Okay, well, I know his wife is Wanda. Let's type Wanda. I love Wanda. I mean, I love Lewis, Caleb. You know, they use the first things that they know that are personal to you. So things like that, you don't want it being your password. Change your password at least once every 30 to 90 days. I recommend, every 30 or 60 days. 90 days to me, that's 3 months. The longer you go, the more time you are giving a potential hacker access to your stuff. And the closer they get to getting access to breaking in, right? So the longer you take to change that password, the more quicker it is for them to get in. If you notice, most companies that you work at today, and we hate it, we all hate it, but every 30 days, especially our company, we're a technology company, every 30 days, password's got to be changed. And they've got it so secure, you can't even use the last 12 passwords. So now, you thinking you're going back to remember your password. No. It's very important. Yes, sir.
Can I ask you a question? So then, that being the case, and yes, I have run into that same thing. You have to come up with a new one. Okay. With as many different places as we use passwords, and one of the faux pas is don't use the same password for multiple things.
Exactly.
So you've got 50 different passwords, all of which have to be changed periodically.
Yes.
How do you keep up with all the passwords? They say don't write it down anywhere.
That's right.
Where do you keep all these passwords and keep up with it?
You don't. It's hard to. That's one of the problems now because we've got so many things that require passwords. It's hard to keep up. So that's why a lot of companies you've seen now are initiating the either they have a key, a secure key. A lot of times you create an account and they'll say, okay, pick a picture. Because you're not going to remember your password. So if you see this picture now, this is your picture. Some companies use your picture as your password, and then some companies say, okay, pick a picture, but also enter your password.
Well,
all right?
Yeah, that's what I see most of the time. There's a picture,
right?
But then there's still a password
associated with it, right? And then that's where you get into the, okay, I've forgotten my password. So then you forgot your password, but then you got to answer the question. So then you don't remember the answer to the question that you sent. So now you got to go in. So it's one of those catch-22s. You're darned if you do, and you're darned if you don't. You just got to remember them. Because if not, I mean, you can't write them down. You can't. A lot of people, there's apps nowadays that have where you can type in all your accounts and all your passwords. Well, guess what?
How secure is that?
Exactly. I don't recommend that either, because now they got all your stuff. You lose your phone, or you lose your wherever this company gets hacked into. Now you got Comcast, you got bank accounts, you got all this other stuff. Wow. I tell people the most important ones, keep those as your main ones you remember, right? So if you have online banking, you definitely want to remember that. If you have stuff at work, you definitely want to remember that. All the other ones like Gmail and Facebook and all that stuff, unless you go to it every day, out of sight, out of mind. Keep the main ones you use as the main ones. And then so as you start going along, all these things are requiring passwords and all this other stuff. After a while, you just you're in password overload and you can't keep up. And you're right. People just get so tired, so they just put the same password all over. And that's the #1 no-no, because now if I've hacked into your bank account, I've hacked into everything other part of your life, because now I know your password.
Well, if this is helpful, I kind of use the whole system to my advantage at this point. It used to be frustrating, now I kind of welcome it. From 1 month or 30 to 60 days when I need it, and I forget it, I just create a new one.
There you go. There you go.
Because I can't remember the old one anyway.
Yeah.
So now
create a new one.
Since I have to create a new one, that's my way of changing my password.
There you go. Change your password, create a new one. Yeah, because it's always, I mean, it's crazy, but it is. One of the developers I work with, he just got so tired, and the password system, he couldn't get in, because you got to meet all these requirements. So finally, he just put Flowbap, and I was like, "What is Flowbap?" And he was like, "For lack of a better password." And I was like, "I'm done." I was like, "I can't, But you'd be surprised what people start using, and they start using the uppercase and lowercase and the Z's, and the hackers are becoming more and more aware of this. So now they've got systems. Believe it or not, hackers has got computers that automatically generate passwords, and all they do is go to different sites and automatically generate passwords. So when you hear in the news that, oh, such and such has been hacked into, that's because some company has gone in, and that's all they're doing.
Been working on it for months.
And they've been sitting there, and they just been pounding away at it, and they finally found the algorithm to get in, and they've hacked, and nobody's off limits. Trust me, if Wells Fargo can be hacked into, and the CIA and the FBI and all nobody's off limits.
So no missiles have been launched yet.
Yeah, they're there. They're there. So what are the pros and cons of cloud computing? The pros are it's easy to store pictures and files and all the other files and everything off-site, because you don't have to worry about it. You have easy access to all those files wherever you go. So whether you're here in Timbuktu and you've gone across the waters and you need your files, it's easy access. You just go there and you pull it up, and you have everything there. And it saves space on your personal PC, because now you don't have to store all these things on your computer, because they take up, especially nowadays, they take up so much space. One little picture, 5 and 6 gigs and megs and all this other stuff. And your computer can only hold so much. It's like your brain. Your brain can only hold so much. After a while, you start deleting stuff, right? So it saves space. And then, of course, you also have your cons. The company can close its doors, and you need to always have a backup, right? So any cloud computer company can just close its doors. One of the main ones, I think it was called Megasoft, I believe. A lot of attorneys use that cloud computer storage. So you had all these attorneys putting all their files, case files and case reports out there, and boom, one day company up, closed down, packed up shit. And all these attorneys who had court dates and all this other stuff have no access, because they saved it no other place. So always have a backup. Although you have a cloud and you're using one of these, always have a backup. Have a SD card. Have another backup on your computer. I tell people, back up stuff on your computer, store it somewhere else. Even if it's a little bank account or a safety deposit box or something, just go ahead and store it somewhere else so you have a backup.
So are you saying then that you should store at least 3 different places, two 2 places on the cloud and 1 physical backup?
One physical backup. Always have a physical backup because you never know when your cloud can go down, your PC can go down, and you're like, okay, now I'm really screwed because the cloud is down, maybe the network is down, right? You can't access the internet. All of a sudden your computer got a virus. You're in trouble. And then, okay, I need my physical. So you have your physical now on an SD card, and now you can pull that out and boom. And you've got access to it once again. And like I said, hackers. I mean, they spend their whole lives just trying to access and hurt you. Go ahead, buddy. Go to the bathroom. They spend their whole life trying to harm you. So that's what they do, and you just got to be careful. So definitely always have a backup. All right, you decide which one is best for you. Amazon, they start charging at terabytes of usage. It's mainly for developers and programmers, but people that want to use it for personal stuff can use it as well. So as they give you a lot of space, but they just start charging when it comes to terabytes. And terabytes is, you got kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, and terabytes. If you need terabytes, trust me. If you fill up terabytes, you just got a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Dropbox, they start you off at 2 gigs of free space, and then they offer more as you start referring people, right? So if you go into your email and say, hey, for every person you refer, we give you 5 extra gigs. So then your inbox starts filling up. Diane wants you to drop Dropbox, join Dropbox. And such wants you to join Dropbox. And then as soon as you sign up, they give me extra storage. Or if you sign up for Dropbox through Facebook, or sign up or like them on Facebook, or like them on Instagram, or all this other stuff, they give you extra stuff. After that, then they charge you $10 per month if you need more after that, right? Google Drive gives you 5 gigs of free space, and then you pay as you go. They start at $250 a month for 25 gigs and up. Microsoft SkyDrive, also known as the cloud, they give you 7 gigs, and then they start at $10 a year for 20 gigs and up. So you can kind of decide which one is best for you. I've got 3 of them. So I've got Dropbox, Amazon, and Google Drive. But I pretty much use the free stuff. After the free stuff, I'm like, look, I'm just gonna have to find another way, because I'm not paying you monthly for all that. I don't need all of that.
I don't know if you're familiar. Isn't there a certain amount that you get when you join, like what do you call it, Prime? You become a Prime member on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which I am, but I never store anything.
Yes.
And it's part of what I'm here for now, because I've always said, look, just give me my hard drive and let me store my stuff, because I don't want it all out there. But
yes.
You don't happen to know how much that is.
Amazon Prime, I'm not sure, but I want to. I think I was reading up on it last night. I think it was like 15 or so, 15 gigs or so.
Okay.
With them, because I've got Amazon Prime too, and you're right. I've got Amazon S3, but I haven't even used it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've used mainly Dropbox and Google Drive, and just because I'm in Google 24/7, so I share all my stuff on there, and I share everything on there. Come on, bud. So I use Google Drive all the time. Internet safety, the good, the bad, and you better not dare. Alright, so here are the pros and cons of internet safety. It's a nice way to connect with others, especially family, especially if you're using Facebook, Instagram, all the other social media networks. Quick communication through media and social networks. You are aware of your surroundings. Cons, if the network is down and you're in trouble, and again, my favorite, hackers. Right? So we definitely have pros and cons of the internet, and we're going to go through some of these things that you want to know and you don't want to know. How to protect your castle. Thank you, buddy. Do not give out your personal information. So you're online, and you're surfing and you're doing whatever you need to do. Somebody pops up. Hey, I'm so-and-so from so-and-so, and you'd be surprised, they probably Googled you. and they've gathered all this information about you, so now you're thinking, well, shoot, they know a lot about me, so why not? Do not, under any circumstances, give out any of your personal information, whether it's over the phone, whether it's in the internet, wherever. I don't give it out at all. If you really need to know all that,